Have you ever wondered why California is nicknamed the Golden State? I'll tell you why. The year is 1839, and James Wilson Marshall, a carpenter who works for John Sutter, suddenly finds gold in a river near Sutter Mill in Sacramento. He has come from the East Coast as a result of a famine. Despite wanting to keep the gold a secret, word gets out, and suddenly the whole world is eager to gain wealth for themselves. Starting 1848, thousands of immigrants come to California to strike it rich. This became the start of the famous California Gold Rush. So what exactly was the gold rush, and why is it so important? The gold rush involved the rapid flocking of people to California to mine for gold. They traveled from all over the world by steamboats, trains, and wagons. One of the many immigrant groups that came were the Chinese. Many Americans did not welcome the Chinese, and they began to tax all foreign miners, not just the Chinese, by passing the Foreign Miners Tax Act. And the Chinese were even violently attacked at the camps often. Mining for gold wasn't exactly easy, though. It was a back-breaking process which required a lot of toil and hard work to achieve, as well as a wide variety of tools such as pickaxes, pans, drills which were hand-powered or air-compressed, stamps which pounded gold quartz into dust for easier extraction, rockers which separated gold from dirt, and hydraulic machines which were hydro-powered cannons, and etc. Miners would often use these tools near or in rivers, but as time went on and miners began to feel hopeless that they would ever find gold, many went to bigger mining companies. These larger mining companies were extremely successful at extracting gold by using the hydraulic mining technique, which was a form of mining that uses high-pressure jets of water to dislodge rock material or to move sediment, and these mining companies made millions.
Fun fact. Do you know why the San Francisco 49ers are called the 49ers? Well, they took inspiration from the migrants or prospectors who came to California to look for gold who were at one point nicknamed the 49ers. That is what this football team based their team name upon. So, what impact did the gold rush have on women? For starters, many men left their families to go mining for gold, so women often had to take over jobs such as farming, running businesses, and etc. However, there were also many women in California who worked as laundresses, cooks, and innkeepers. Oftentimes, they were much more successful at earning money than the miners themselves. As more and more people began to come to California in hopes of striking gold, new temporary residential towns were built, but once the miners were done in that region, those towns became ghost towns. But not many miners were that successful in finding gold. And here's another fun fact. Ever wonder how the Golden Gate Bridge got its name? Well, it has everything to do with the gold rush. The Golden Gate Bridge and the strait that it crossed over were named after the trading ships that came to San Francisco area to trade gold and goods during the gold rush. Now let's talk about economics. Once the gold rush began, inflation closely followed. In fact, back in 1849, a dozen of eggs could cost you up to $90 in today's currency. Even a simple breakfast could cost up to $1,200. Not only did the price of food increase, but the price of property, tools, and basically everything increased as well. Even the pans that miners used cost $247, and a shovel could be up to $1,000 in today's currency. That's one reason why the merchants were much more successful and ended up making more money than miners, because they sold goods for extremely high prices which the miners bought. While the gold rush did have an impact on California's economy and society, there was also a massive impact on California's environment. What had previously been hundreds of miles of untouched land, they were now boomtowns and mining sites. California's forests of 100-foot-tall redwoods that were able to grow for hundreds of thousands of years without struggle were now being cut down for lumber and room for mining. Due to the large demand of wood that went into building boomtowns, tools, and transportation such as carriages and wagons, there became a large growth in the lumber industry alongside the mining industry. New ways of chopping down trees were being invented and used by these lumber companies. No longer were there hand saws being used to cut down trees. Now there were gas-fueled chainsaws that could plow down trees with a fraction of the time and effort. Due to large mining companies using hydraulic mining equipment and explosives like dynamite to find gold, sides of mountains and boulders would be decimated and turned into rubble within weeks. Chunks of rocks from the mountains and boulders would be crushed by the stamp machinery to find gold. This resulted in large deposits of small rocks and gravel being left near streams and rivers. In order for mining companies to more efficiently separate gold from gravel and dirt, A large tool called a sluice would be used. It used water to rush over the gravel and dirt to separate it from the gold. In order to maintain a constant flow of water to use this device, streams and rivers would be diverted from their natural course by dams, which would disrupt wildlife that relied on these streams and rivers. This would prevent fish like salmon from migrating, which removed a major food source for bears, coyotes, wildcats, and birds of prey of California, causing their population to suffer. Overall, the California gold rush had an enormous impact on California and the United States as a whole. In California, many boomtowns were established, the economy and prosperity grew rapidly, increased industrialization of railroads, and an increase in infrastructure such as churches and banks. As more people came, California obtained a big enough population to finally become a state, the Golden State.